Tonight, the world can feel very quiet. The ground beneath every city, forest, desert, and ocean continues its slow movement through space without needing attention from anyone at all. For a little while, there is nothing to solve and nowhere to rush toward. There are only calm facts about the Earth, moving gently from one thought to the next. The Earth is not perfectly round. It is slightly wider around the middle than from top to bottom because of its steady rotation through space. This shape is called an oblate spheroid, though in daily life it simply feels flat beneath our feet and endlessly stable. The surface of the Earth moves all the time, even when everything feels still. The continents drift very slowly across the planet on giant plates of rock. Most movements are so gradual that a person would never notice them during an entire lifetime. A mountain range can rise millimeter by millimeter while clouds continue to drift quietly overhead. Far below the oceans, the Earth releases heat from deep inside itself. This heat comes from ancient energy trapped during the planet's formation and from tiny radioactive processes within the rocks. The warmth slowly escapes through cracks in the crust and through underwater volcanic vents that remain hidden in darkness. In some places beneath the sea, warm mineral water rises upward into freezing ocean depths. Around these vents, strange living communities survive without sunlight. Tiny organisms use chemicals from the Earth itself for energy instead of depending on the sun above. The ocean floor, even in darkness, remains quietly active. A soft welcome settles here now, with no need to follow time too carefully. The Earth has carried oceans, rain, forests, wind, and silence for billions of years, and it continues calmly through space tonight exactly as it did long before cities existed. Many things on Earth move slowly enough that they seem permanent, though they are always changing a little beneath the surface. Stone becomes sand. Mountains become valleys. Rivers carve gentle paths through rock over immense stretches of time. Clouds form and disappear without effort. Even now, while rooms stay still and quiet, waves continue arriving at distant shores in steady rhythms that never completely stop. There is comfort in knowing the planet does not hurry. The Earth rotates patiently, carrying night from one horizon to another. Cold air settles over forests. Warm ocean currents travel across enormous distances. Ice forms softly in high mountains while deserts cool beneath the stars. Everything continues at its own natural pace. The oldest rocks on Earth formed more than 4 billion years ago. Some ancient minerals inside those rocks are even older. Tiny crystals called zircons have survived from a very distant past, carrying evidence of early Earth conditions from nearly the beginning of the planet itself. Rain has been part of Earth's story for an extremely long time. Water vapor rises into the atmosphere, cools into clouds, and returns to the surface again and again in a cycle that has continued for millions of years. Some of the water falling as rain tonight may once have moved through ancient rivers beside dinosaurs or drifted through clouds above forgotten forests. The Earth's atmosphere becomes thinner with height. Near the surface, air feels dense and steady. Higher above the mountains, the atmosphere slowly fades into the darkness of space. There is no sharp edge where Earth suddenly ends. Instead, the air gradually becomes lighter and quieter until it blends into the near emptiness surrounding the planet. Deserts often feel empty, though they contain subtle movement everywhere. Sand dunes slowly migrate across the land as winds push tiny grains forward one by one. A dune can travel silently over many years, reshaping the landscape with almost invisible patience. Some caves remain almost unchanged for thousands of years. Inside them, mineral-rich water drips slowly from ceilings onto stone floors. Over immense stretches of time, these droplets build stalactites and stalagmites grain by grain. A formation may grow only a small amount during a human lifetime. The deepest part of the ocean is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. Far below the surface, darkness remains complete. The pressure becomes immense, yet living creatures still move through the cold water there. Soft-bodied animals drift slowly in silence where sunlight never reaches. The Earth's magnetic field surrounds the planet like an invisible shield. It forms because of movements within the liquid metal deep inside the core. This field helps protect the atmosphere from energetic particles arriving from space. Without it, the planet would feel very different over long periods of time. Forests can create their own local weather patterns. Trees release water vapor into the air through their leaves, helping clouds form overhead. Large forests quietly influence rainfall, humidity, and temperature while standing still across the landscape. Some lakes remain perfectly calm during early morning hours when winds are absent. In those moments, mountains and clouds reflect so clearly on the surface that the water almost disappears visually. The boundary between sky and lake becomes difficult to notice. Beneath Antarctica, there are hidden lakes trapped under thick ice. Some remain sealed beneath the frozen surface for extremely long periods of time. The ice above them moves slowly like a frozen river, though the movement is too gradual to see directly. The Earth rotates at about 1,000 miles per hour near the equator. Even with this enormous speed, the movement feels completely gentle because everything around us moves together at the same pace. The air, oceans, clouds, and land all travel together through space. Volcanic islands sometimes begin far below the sea. Over many eruptions, layers of cooled lava slowly rise upward until they finally emerge above the ocean surface. A new island can form gradually from repeated quiet events deep underwater. The color of many rivers changes throughout the year. Glacial rivers may appear pale blue because of tiny particles of rock suspended in the water. Other rivers look green, brown, silver, or nearly black depending on minerals, depth, plants, and reflected light from the sky. Earthquakes can move through the planet as waves of energy. Scientists study these waves to understand the deep interior of the Earth. Even though nobody has traveled to the core, these vibrations reveal information about the layers hidden far below the surface. Some mountain peaks contain fossils of ancient sea creatures. This happened because parts of the Earth's crust slowly rose upward over millions of years. Places once covered by oceans eventually became high mountains where cold winds now blow across stone. The Pacific Ocean is slowly shrinking in some areas because tectonic plates move beneath one another around its edges. Elsewhere, new ocean floor forms where plates separate. The surface of the Earth quietly rebuilds itself continuously. During winter in very cold regions, lakes can produce unusual sounds beneath thick ice. As temperatures change, the frozen surface expands and contracts, creating deep echoes that travel across the landscape. Some sounds resemble distant musical notes carried through the night air. Many beaches softly glow under moonlight because tiny fragments of shells and minerals reflect pale light from the sky. The ocean itself can sometimes glow as well when microscopic organisms produce bioluminescence in moving water. Waves rolling onto shore may briefly shine blue before fading back into darkness. The Earth's core is extremely hot, almost as hot as the surface of the sun. Yet the crust above it remains cool enough for forests, rivers, snow, and life. Between the deep heat below and the atmosphere above exists a thin layer where nearly every known living thing survives. Clouds have weight, even though they appear light and soft. A large cloud can contain enormous amounts of water suspended in tiny droplets. Air currents hold these droplets aloft until rain slowly begins to fall. Some valleys contain air that remains unusually still. Cold air sinks during the night and settles gently into lower areas, creating quiet pools of coolness before sunrise. Mist often forms there in soft layers above rivers and fields. The Earth travels around the Sun at incredible speed while also spinning on its axis. At the same time, the solar system itself moves through the galaxy. Even while resting quietly indoors, every person on Earth moves through space together with the planet. In certain places, stones in the desert seem to move slowly across dry ground over long periods of time. Thin layers of ice, gentle wind, and specific surface conditions can gradually push rocks forward, leaving trails behind them in the dust. Some trees communicate chemically through underground fungal networks connected to their roots. Nutrients and signals can move quietly between plants beneath the forest floor. The ground below a forest contains hidden systems of exchange and support. The Earth's oceans store enormous amounts of heat. Water changes temperature more slowly than land, which helps stabilize climates around the world. Coastal regions often experience gentler seasonal changes because of the nearby sea. Long ago, giant dragonflies flew above ancient wetlands. Some had wingspans much larger than modern insects. The atmosphere contained different levels of oxygen during those distant periods, allowing certain creatures to grow to unusual sizes. Tiny grains of dust from deserts can travel across entire oceans in the atmosphere. Minerals lifted by wind may eventually settle thousands of miles away, nourishing forests and oceans far from where the dust first rose into the air. The northern and southern lights appear when energetic particles interact with Earth's atmosphere near the poles. The sky can glow softly in green, purple, or red curtains that drift silently across the darkness. From below, the movement often appears slow and fluid, like light breathing across the sky. Some glaciers move only a few inches each day. Others travel more quickly depending on temperature and slope. Although they appear motionless from a distance, rivers of ice are constantly flowing under their own great weight. There are places on Earth where almost no rain falls for years at a time. Other regions receive steady rainfall nearly every day. The atmosphere distributes water unevenly across the planet in vast and shifting patterns. A single teaspoon of healthy soil can contain billions of microscopic organisms. Bacteria, fungi, and tiny living systems quietly break down material and recycle nutrients beneath every forest, meadow, and garden. The Earth's moon helps stabilize the planet's tilt over long periods of time. Without the moon, Earth's climate patterns might shift more dramatically across ages. The steady presence of the moon has quietly influenced tides and rhythms for billions of years. Large ocean currents move warm and cold water across the globe like slow rivers within the sea. These currents influence weather, temperature, and rainfall patterns on distant continents. Some water traveling through deep ocean circulation may remain below the surface for hundreds of years before rising again. In extremely cold environments, snow can absorb sound and make landscapes feel unusually quiet. Fresh snow contains many tiny air pockets that soften echoes and reduce noise. A snowy forest at night can feel deeply still because of this gentle muffling effect. In tropical rainforests, water moves constantly between soil, plants, rivers, and sky. Rain falls through layers of leaves and slowly drips downward in countless small streams. Roots absorb moisture from deep underground while warm air lifts water vapor upward again into clouds. The entire forest participates in a continuous cycle of movement that rarely stops. Some rocks on Earth contain tiny records of ancient magnetic fields. As molten rock cools, minerals inside it align with the direction of the planet's magnetic field at that time. Scientists can study these patterns to understand how continents moved across the Earth over immense stretches of history. The Earth's atmosphere bends sunlight slightly as it passes through the air. This bending helps create the soft colors of sunrise and sunset. Blue light scatters widely during the day, while reds and oranges travel farther through the atmosphere during evening and morning hours. There are rivers beneath the oceans. Where water differs in saltiness or temperature, dense flows can travel along the seafloor like invisible underwater currents. Some carve channels into sediment over very long periods of time. The Sahara Desert was once much greener than it is today. Long ago, parts of it contained lakes, grasslands, and animals that depended on regular rainfall. The climate slowly shifted over thousands of years until the landscape became much drier. Some mountains continue rising today because tectonic plates still press slowly against one another. At the same time, wind, ice, and rain gradually wear those same mountains down. Earth constantly balances uplift and erosion in quiet cycles that can last millions of years. Coral reefs are built by countless tiny animals called polyps. These small creatures create hard skeletons of calcium carbonate that slowly accumulate into large underwater structures. Entire reef systems can form through the patient work of organisms smaller than a fingertip. The deepest ocean trenches remain among the least explored places on Earth. Pressure there becomes so intense that ordinary submarines cannot survive without special protection. Even so, delicate creatures continue drifting through the darkness in slow and silent motion. Wind can shape stone over long periods of time. Tiny grains of sand carried through the air gradually smooth rough surfaces and carve gentle curves into cliffs and rock formations. Some desert stones appear polished because of centuries of quiet abrasion. The Earth's rotation is gradually slowing. The change is extremely small and difficult to notice in daily life, but over millions of years the length of a day slowly increases. Long ago, days on Earth were shorter than they are now. Some forests grow on floating islands of soil and plant roots. In wetlands and marshes, thick mats of vegetation can drift slowly across calm water while supporting grasses, shrubs, and even small trees. Beneath many beaches, fresh water can exist below the sand. Rainwater seeps underground and sometimes forms hidden reservoirs beneath coastal landscapes. Freshwater and seawater meet quietly below the surface in shifting underground layers. Lightning enriches soil in subtle ways. The energy from lightning helps convert nitrogen in the atmosphere into forms that plants can eventually use. Storms contribute not only rain but also nutrients to the Earth below. The Earth's crust is thinner beneath the oceans than beneath continents. Oceanic crust forms at underwater ridges where molten rock rises upward and cools. Continental crust tends to be thicker and older, supporting mountains, valleys, forests, and cities. In certain cold regions, circles and patterns naturally appear in the ground. Freezing and thawing processes slowly sort stones and soil into repeating shapes over time. The landscape organizes itself gradually through the quiet movement of water and ice. Many waterfalls slowly move backward over centuries. Falling water erodes the rock beneath it, causing the edge of the waterfall to retreat upstream little by little. A river can reshape an entire valley through steady motion alone. The Earth receives energy from the sun every day, but not evenly across the surface. Regions near the equator receive more direct sunlight than areas near the poles. This difference helps drive winds, currents, storms, and climate systems around the world. Some ancient trees are among the oldest living organisms on Earth. Certain bristlecone pines have survived for thousands of years in dry mountain environments where growth remains very slow. Their twisted shapes record centuries of wind, cold, and changing seasons. There are places where rivers disappear underground entirely. Water flows into openings in limestone landscapes and continues traveling through hidden cave systems before emerging elsewhere. Beneath some hills and forests, entire rivers move silently through darkness. Ocean waves can travel enormous distances. A storm far away at sea may generate waves that eventually reach distant shores days later. The surface of the ocean carries energy across wide expanses with steady rhythm. The Earth's mantle behaves partly like solid rock and partly like a very slow-moving fluid. Over immense periods of time, heat from deeper layers causes mantle material to circulate gradually. These movements help drive the shifting of tectonic plates above. During calm nights, deserts can become surprisingly cold. Without clouds or moisture to hold heat near the ground, warmth escapes quickly into the atmosphere after sunset. The same landscape that feels intensely hot during the day may feel cool and still at night. Some lakes change color during different seasons. Temperature shifts, minerals, algae, and sunlight all influence the appearance of water. A lake may look silver in winter, deep blue in summer, or green during periods of plant growth. Tiny droplets in clouds can remain suspended for long periods before falling as rain. Air currents lift and support them continuously. Clouds drift across the sky carrying countless droplets too small to notice individually. There are stones inside the Earth that formed under pressures far greater than anything on the surface. Diamonds developed deep underground where heat and pressure transformed carbon over very long spans of time before volcanic activity eventually carried them upward. The ocean floor contains mountain ranges longer than any on land. Mid-ocean ridges stretch across the planet beneath the sea, forming an interconnected system thousands of miles long. Most of these mountains remain hidden below dark water. Some animals help shape entire landscapes. Beavers build dams that slow rivers and create wetlands. Corals form reefs that influence coastlines and marine habitats. Tiny organisms in soil gradually change the structure of the ground itself. Earth's atmosphere contains layers with different temperatures and characteristics. Weather mostly occurs in the lower layer called the troposphere. Higher above, thinner regions of the atmosphere contain fewer particles and very different conditions. The smell of rain on dry ground comes partly from compounds released by soil organisms and plants. When raindrops strike the earth, tiny particles rise into the air carrying that familiar scent through calm environments. Some coastlines slowly rise while others sink. Tectonic movements, melting ice, sediment buildup, and groundwater changes all influence the shape of shorelines over time. The edges of continents are always adjusting gradually. Fossils sometimes preserve delicate details from ancient life. Leaves, feathers, footprints, and even raindrop marks can survive in stone under the right conditions. Moments from distant ages become quietly stored within layers of rock. The Earth's oceans contain mountains, plains, trenches, and volcanoes similar to those on land. Much of the planet's landscape remains underwater and unseen by most people. The seafloor is not flat but varied and expansive. In polar regions during certain seasons, the sun may remain above or below the horizon for long periods. These slow cycles of light and darkness shape the rhythms of plants, animals, ice, and weather near the poles. Some caves contain crystals larger than trees. Over long spans of time, mineral-rich water can create enormous crystal formations in stable underground environments where temperature and chemistry remain consistent. The Earth formed from dust and rock orbiting the young Sun billions of years ago. Small particles gradually gathered together through gravity, forming larger and larger bodies until the planet slowly emerged. The ground beneath every ocean and forest began as drifting material in space. Mud can crack into repeating patterns as it dries. Water evaporates from wet soil, causing the surface to shrink and split into natural geometric shapes. Simple physical forces create quiet designs across the landscape. Certain valleys trap fog for hours after sunrise. Cool air settles low while warmer air remains above it, allowing mist to linger softly over rivers, trees, and fields. The Earth's oceans produce much of the oxygen in the atmosphere through microscopic marine organisms. Tiny drifting life forms near the surface quietly participate in global cycles that support countless living systems. Glacier can preserve ancient air within trapped bubbles of ice. Scientists study these bubbles to understand past climates and atmospheric conditions from long ago. Frozen layers become records of ancient weather. Volcanic ash can travel around the world high in the atmosphere after large eruptions. Tiny particles drift slowly through upper air currents before eventually settling back to Earth. The shape of coastlines changes constantly under the influence of tides and waves. Even a calm beach shifts grain by grain as water moves sand along the shore. The meeting place between land and sea is never completely still. Some rivers appear braided when flowing across wide, shallow landscapes. Channels divide and reconnect repeatedly around islands of gravel and sediment. From above, these rivers resemble woven patterns moving slowly through valleys. The Earth tilts slightly as it orbits the Sun, creating the seasons. Different parts of the planet receive varying amounts of sunlight throughout the year because of this steady angle. Winter, spring, summer, and autumn emerge from a quiet astronomical rhythm. There are microorganisms living deep underground inside cracks within rock. Some survive far below the surface without sunlight, moving slowly through hidden environments warmed by Earth's internal heat. Certain beaches produce musical sounds when dry sand shifts underfoot. The movement of similarly sized grains can create soft humming or squeaking tones in specific conditions. The Earth's atmosphere protects the surface from many small objects arriving from space. Most tiny meteors burn up high above the ground, briefly glowing as streaks of light before disappearing into the night. Salt flats can become mirror-like after rainfall. A thin layer of water spreads across the flat surface and reflects the sky with remarkable clarity. Clouds and mountains appear doubled in stillness. The continents continue drifting today at speeds similar to the growth of human fingernails. Though slow, these movements reshape oceans and mountains across geological time. Some seeds can remain dormant for years before conditions become right for growth. Rain, warmth, or fire may eventually awaken them after long periods of quiet waiting beneath the soil. Deep beneath forests, groundwater moves slowly through layers of rock and sediment. Hidden underground rivers and reservoirs support springs, wetlands, and streams at the surface. The Earth's gravity is slightly different in various places depending on mountains, density, and the planet's shape. Sensitive instruments can detect these subtle variations across the globe. In very clear conditions, moonlight can cast shadows on the ground. Even the soft reflected light from the moon is enough to shape pale outlines across snow, sand, or open fields. Some volcanic rocks float briefly on water because they contain many tiny air pockets formed by escaping gases during eruptions. Pumice stones may drift across oceans before eventually sinking or washing ashore. The Earth quietly continues through space tonight as it always has, carrying clouds, forests, oceans, and sleeping cities together beneath the atmosphere. Far below the surface, stone remains warm from ancient heat. High above, thin air fades gradually into darkness. Between those depths and heights, rivers continue flowing toward the sea in patient motion that never needs to hurry. In some parts of the world, fire can help forests renew themselves. Certain trees release seeds only after exposure to heat, allowing new growth to begin after older vegetation clears away. Ash from burned plants can return nutrients to the soil, supporting the quiet return of grasses and young trees over time. The Earth's oceans contain layers of water with different temperatures and densities. Warm surface water moves differently from colder water deep below. These layers shift gradually with seasons, storms, and currents traveling through the sea. Some cliffs reveal long histories in visible bands of stone. Each layer formed during a different period, slowly collecting sediment from rivers, wind, or ancient oceans. Rock walls become records of vanished environments preserved in silence. There are lakes that form inside volcanic craters. Rainwater and underground springs slowly fill the hollow spaces left behind after eruptions. Some crater lakes appear very still because steep walls shelter them from strong winds. The Earth reflects some sunlight back into space through clouds, ice, deserts, and oceans. Bright surfaces reflect more light than dark ones. Snow-covered landscapes can appear luminous because they return so much sunlight upward. In certain forests, fallen trees continue supporting life long after they stop growing. Mosses, insects, fungi, and seedlings slowly develop across old trunks resting on the forest floor. Decay becomes part of renewal in steady natural cycles. Some islands are made entirely from coral growth and accumulated sand. Over long periods of time, reefs rise close to the ocean's surface while waves gently deposit fragments of shells and coral nearby. Small tropical islands can slowly emerge through these quiet processes. The Earth's atmosphere contains tiny particles from oceans, deserts, volcanoes, forests, and even distant fires. These particles influence clouds, sunlight, and rainfall in subtle ways across the planet. There are valleys shaped mainly by glacier instead of rivers. Glaciers tend to carve broad U-shaped valleys as heavy ice moves slowly downhill. River valleys usually appear narrower and more sharply cut. Some plants in deserts open their flowers only during cooler nighttime hours. This timing helps conserve moisture in dry climates where daytime heat can be intense. The quiet desert night becomes a period of gentle activity. The Earth's molten outer core moves constantly beneath the mantle. These movements generate the planet's magnetic field through powerful electrical processes deep underground. Though invisible from the surface, this activity quietly surrounds the entire planet. Certain beaches contain sand made mostly from tiny fragments of coral and shells. Over many years, waves break biological material into smaller and smaller grains until soft pale beaches slowly form. Rain shadows occur when mountains block moist air from reaching certain regions. As air rises over mountains, moisture falls as rain or snow. On the other side, drier conditions often develop beneath descending air. Some rivers naturally change course across flat landscapes. Water slowly erodes one bank while depositing sediment along another, causing channels to wander gradually through valleys and plains. The Earth's crust floats on deeper layers that move very slowly over time. Continents are not fixed permanently in place. They drift, separate, and occasionally collide across immense geological ages. Certain caves remain cool throughout the year because underground temperatures change slowly. Stone absorbs and releases heat gradually, creating stable environments beneath the surface. The ocean absorbs a large amount of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Tiny marine organisms, currents, and chemical reactions all contribute to this ongoing exchange between sea and air. Some mountain lakes appear turquoise because of fine particles created by glacier grinding rock into powder. Sunlight scatters through these suspended particles, giving the water a soft glowing color. Earth's atmosphere becomes thinner so gradually that there is no clear line between sky and space. Instead, the transition happens slowly over many miles above the surface. There are forests where trees grow closely together for centuries with very little disturbance. Layers of fallen leaves slowly build rich soil beneath them while shade and moisture remain steady year after year. Certain rocks can bend slowly under pressure deep underground instead of breaking suddenly. Given enough heat and time, solid stone may flow gradually like an extremely slow liquid. The Earth's tides are strongest when the Sun, Moon, and Earth align more closely. These gravitational relationships gently raise and lower ocean waters around the world every day. Some lakes form when glaciers leave behind blocks of buried ice. As the ice melts over time, depressions fill with water and become quiet ponds or lakes within the landscape. Dust from volcanoes can help create vivid sunsets by scattering sunlight differently in the atmosphere. Fine particles drifting high above the Earth influence the colors visible during evening light. The oldest deserts on Earth have remained dry for millions of years. Even there, subtle changes continue constantly through wind, temperature shifts, and occasional rainfall. Certain marine animals produce their own light through bioluminescence. In deep ocean darkness, soft glowing patterns move slowly through black water where sunlight never reaches. The Earth's gravity helps give the atmosphere its shape. Without gravity, gases would drift away into space over time. Air remains close to the planet because of this continuous invisible pull. Some forests create natural openings when older trees fall. Sunlight reaches the ground in these spaces, allowing younger plants and saplings to grow upward gradually. There are underwater volcanoes that erupt quietly without anyone seeing them directly. Most volcanic activity on Earth actually happens beneath the oceans. The Earth's poles slowly wander over very long periods because of changes in the planet's interior and rotation. These shifts happen gradually across thousands and millions of years. Certain stones in rivers become smooth because moving water carries sand and sediment against them continuously. A rough rock can slowly transform into a rounded shape through patient contact with flowing water. The atmosphere contains rivers of fast-moving air called jet streams high above the surface. These currents influence storms, temperatures, and weather patterns across large regions. Some islands disappear and reappear over time because of tides, storms, erosion, and shifting sand. Coastlines remain in slow motion even when they seem permanent. The Earth's surface contains many hidden fractures where rocks slowly move past one another deep underground. Most motion occurs silently and gradually without noticeable shaking. Certain clouds form lens-like shapes above mountains when air flows smoothly over elevated land. These clouds can appear almost motionless while strong winds move through them continuously. Peat bogs preserve ancient plant material because cold, wet conditions slow decomposition. Layers of moss and organic matter accumulate gradually over thousands of years. The Earth receives tiny amounts of dust from space every day. Microscopic particles drift through the atmosphere and settle quietly onto oceans, deserts, forests, and cities. Some river deltas slowly grow outward into the sea as sediment accumulates near river mouths. Mud and sand carried from inland areas gradually create new land along coastlines. There are valleys where sound travels unusually far because of temperature layers in the air. Under calm conditions, distant noises can drift gently across large open spaces. The Earth's inner core remains solid despite extreme heat because pressure deep underground becomes immense. Around it, the outer core stays liquid, moving continuously beneath the mantle. Certain plants can survive long dry periods by storing water inside thick stems or leaves. Desert environments encourage slow and careful use of moisture. Ocean tides also affect the solid Earth slightly. The land itself rises and falls a small amount under the gravitational pull of the Moon and Sun. Some forests release scents more strongly after rain because moisture helps carry natural compounds from leaves, bark, and soil into the air. The Earth's atmosphere protects life from much harmful radiation arriving from space. Layers high above the surface absorb or weaken different forms of energy before they reach the ground. Certain waterfalls create cool local climates nearby through constant mist and moving air. Moisture drifting from falling water can support mosses, ferns, and dense plant growth. The shape of the Earth influences winds and ocean currents. Because the planet rotates, moving air and water curve across the surface instead of traveling in perfectly straight lines. Some volcanic eruptions create new rock that cools into black basalt along coastlines. Over time, waves slowly break this stone into smaller fragments that eventually become sand. The Earth's deep oceans remain cold because sunlight warms only the upper layers of water. Far below the surface, darkness and low temperatures stay remarkably stable. Certain trees develop roots that spread widely near the surface instead of deeply underground. In shallow or wet soils, this arrangement helps them gather water and remain stable. There are caves where underground rivers echo softly through darkness for miles beneath mountains. Water continues shaping hidden chambers long after surface landscapes change above them. The Earth rotates slightly faster during some seasons because air currents and ocean movements redistribute mass around the planet. These changes are extremely small but measurable with precise instruments. Some beaches contain naturally magnetic sand rich in iron minerals. Tiny grains respond subtly to magnets while waves continue arranging them along the shore. The atmosphere carries moisture across continents through invisible flows of water vapor. Clouds, storms, and rainfall all emerge from these moving exchanges between land, sea, and sky. Certain plants growing in cold regions stay low to the ground to avoid strong winds and conserve warmth near the soil surface. The Earth's oldest mountain ranges were once much taller than they are now. Millions of years of erosion gradually softened their peaks and reduced their height. Some caves contain pools of water so still that their surfaces resemble polished glass. Without wind or strong currents, reflections remain almost perfectly undisturbed underground. The Earth continues turning through the quiet darkness tonight, carrying oceans beneath moonlight and clouds across sleeping forests. Mountain snow slowly settles under cold air. Deep currents move patiently through black water far below the sea surface. Rain forms softly inside distant clouds before beginning its slow return to the ground again. Some parts of the Earth receive very little change in temperature throughout the year. Near the equator, daylight and warmth remain relatively steady from season to season. Elsewhere, temperatures shift more dramatically as the planet tilts toward or away from the Sun during its orbit. The Earth's oceans contain enormous plains deeper than many mountain ranges are tall. These flat seafloor regions stretch quietly through darkness beneath miles of water. Very little sunlight or disturbance reaches them. Certain flowers follow daily rhythms connected to light and temperature. Some open in the morning and close again by evening, while others bloom during the night when air becomes cooler and calmer. There are stones in deserts coated with thin dark layers formed over thousands of years. Wind, minerals, bacteria, and tiny chemical reactions slowly create these surfaces in dry environments. The Earth's atmosphere moves heat from warmer regions toward cooler places through winds and storms. This circulation helps balance temperatures across the planet over time. Some rivers freeze at the surface while water continues flowing beneath the ice. Fish and aquatic plants survive quietly below the frozen layer through long winter months. Tiny salt crystals form naturally when seawater evaporates. As water disappears into the air, dissolved minerals slowly arrange themselves into geometric patterns. The Earth's continents once existed together in different ancient combinations. Over immense spans of time, landmasses joined and separated repeatedly as tectonic plates drifted across the globe. Certain clouds form high enough in the atmosphere to contain tiny ice crystals instead of water droplets. Sunlight passing through them can create soft halos around the moon or sun. Some plants growing near coastlines can survive exposure to salt water and strong winds. Their leaves and roots contain special adaptations that help conserve fresh water. The Earth's magnetic poles have reversed many times in the distant past. These reversals happened gradually over long periods and are recorded in ancient rocks. There are valleys where cold air remains trapped for long stretches of time. Snow and frost may linger there even after nearby regions become warmer. The ocean floor spreads slowly at underwater ridges where molten material rises from below. New crust forms continuously while older seafloor gradually moves away from these regions. Certain insects spend years living underground before emerging for only a short time above the surface. Much of their lives pass quietly beneath the soil. The Earth's atmosphere scatters shorter wavelengths of light more strongly than longer ones. Because of this, the daytime sky appears blue to human eyes. Some forests depend on occasional flooding from nearby rivers. Floodwaters deposit fresh sediment and nutrients across the ground, supporting plant growth over long periods. The Earth contains caves filled entirely with ice that remains frozen year-round. Cold air trapped underground allows these hidden frozen spaces to persist even during warmer seasons. Certain lakes form in volcanic regions where dissolved minerals create unusual colors in the water. Some appear bright green, pale blue, or milky white depending on their chemistry. The deepest roots of some trees extend many feet underground in search of moisture. Other plants spread shallow roots widely near the surface to capture rainwater quickly. Earth's atmosphere gradually loses tiny amounts of hydrogen into space. Light gases can slowly drift beyond the planet's gravitational reach over long periods. Some islands formed from volcanic eruptions eventually become covered with forests and soil. Rain, wind, birds, and seeds slowly transform bare rock into living landscapes. The Earth's crust contains hidden reservoirs of water inside cracks and porous stone far below the surface. Groundwater moves slowly through these underground spaces over years or centuries. Certain mushrooms release spores into the air in enormous numbers. These tiny particles drift through forests carried by gentle air currents. The Earth's rotation slightly affects the shape of oceans and atmosphere. Because of this motion, the equatorial region bulges outward just a little more than polar areas. Some deserts contain dry lake beds where water once existed long ago. Wind now moves fine dust across these flat open spaces beneath wide skies. The atmosphere becomes colder with altitude in the lower layers where most weather occurs. This temperature difference helps drive clouds, rain, and moving air currents. Certain cliffs produce echoes that repeat softly across valleys. Sound waves reflect from stone surfaces and drift back through open landscapes. The Earth's oldest ocean crust is much younger than the oldest continental rocks because seafloor constantly forms and sinks back into the mantle over geological time. Some rivers carry dissolved minerals that slowly build stone formations in caves and springs. Water quietly shapes rock even while appearing soft and fluid. The Earth receives more solar energy near noon than during early morning or evening because sunlight travels through less atmosphere when the sun is higher in the sky. Certain grasses survive fires because their growing parts remain protected underground. After flames pass, new green shoots slowly emerge again from the soil. The oceans absorb sounds efficiently, allowing some noises to travel great distances underwater. Whale calls and other deep sounds can move through layers of water for many miles. Some mountain ranges influence rainfall so strongly that one side becomes lush while the other remains dry. The movement of moist air over high land creates very different climates nearby. The Earth's interior remains active even in regions without volcanoes or earthquakes. Heat continues moving upward slowly through rock everywhere beneath the crust. Certain seeds travel long distances by wind using soft fibers or lightweight structures. Air currents carry them quietly across fields, forests, and rivers before they settle onto the ground. The atmosphere glows faintly at night even without moonlight because of subtle chemical reactions high above the Earth. This natural glow is usually too dim for people to notice easily. Some glaciers contain deep blue ice formed under great pressure. Compressed ice absorbs more red light and reflects blue wavelengths more strongly. The Earth's land and oceans warm at different rates during the day. This difference helps create sea breezes near coastlines as cooler ocean air moves inland. Certain rocks split naturally into smooth layers because of the way minerals formed inside them long ago. Weather and temperature changes gradually separate these layers over time. The Earth's axis slowly changes direction in a motion called precession. This movement happens over thousands of years and gradually shifts the orientation of the planet in space. Some lakes are so clear that sunlight reaches great depths beneath the surface. Cold temperatures and low nutrient levels help maintain this clarity in certain environments. The oceans contain underwater waterfalls where dense water flows downward beneath lighter layers nearby. These hidden movements occur far below the surface in complete darkness. Certain animals living in caves lose much of their eyesight over generations because darkness makes vision less useful there. The Earth's atmosphere helps distribute water through evaporation, clouds, rain, and snow. Moisture continuously cycles between sky, land, rivers, and oceans. Some valleys formed where ancient glacier once moved slowly through mountains. After the ice disappeared, rivers and forests gradually filled the spaces left behind. The Earth's crust stores stress as tectonic plates move gradually over time. Most movement remains extremely slow and silent beneath the surface. Certain flowers produce stronger scents during evening hours when nighttime insects become active. Cooler air also helps fragrances drift more gently through the environment. The ocean contains mountain peaks tall enough to rise above surrounding clouds if they stood on land. Most remain hidden beneath dark water far from shore. Some wetlands naturally filter water as it moves slowly through plants and soil. Sediment settles while microorganisms break down certain materials within the marshy ground. The Earth's climate has shifted many times throughout its long history. Warm periods and ice ages have both appeared and faded gradually across millions of years. Certain rocks in dry regions crack apart because of repeated heating during the day and cooling at night. Temperature changes slowly weaken the stone over time. The atmosphere carries pollen across large distances each year. Tiny grains drift invisibly through the air before settling onto fields, lakes, forests, and cities. Some caves contain delicate mineral formations thinner than paper. Very slow dripping water leaves behind tiny crystal deposits that grow over long spans of time. The Earth's oceans reflect moonlight differently depending on wind, waves, and viewing angle. A calm sea may appear silver and smooth beneath the night sky. Certain plants near rivers survive periodic flooding by growing quickly during wetter seasons. Their roots remain adapted to changing water levels. The Earth continues its steady movement around the Sun without pause, carrying night slowly across oceans and mountains. Far below the ground, hidden water moves through stone in darkness. Cold winds drift over glacier beneath pale moonlight. Clouds form and dissolve quietly above forests where leaves continue their gentle exchange with the air through the long and silent night. Some regions of the Earth contain stone arches shaped naturally by wind, rain, and changing temperatures. Over very long periods of time, softer rock wears away while stronger sections remain standing. The landscape slowly carves itself into quiet forms. The oceans contain areas where warm and cold currents meet. In these regions, nutrients often rise from deeper water, supporting large communities of marine life beneath the surface. Certain trees growing in windy environments develop curved trunks that lean gradually with years of steady air movement. Their shapes reflect long relationships with weather and landscape. The Earth's atmosphere becomes thinner and colder in the upper layers above most weather systems. Far above the clouds, the air contains very few particles compared to the dense atmosphere near the ground. Some deserts bloom briefly after rainfall. Seeds that remain dormant in dry soil begin growing once moisture returns. For a short time, flowers spread across landscapes that otherwise appear quiet and bare. The Earth's oceans hold most of the planet's liquid water. Freshwater rivers and lakes contain only a small fraction compared to the vast saltwater seas covering much of the surface. Certain rocks deep underground contain tiny amounts of trapped water inside their crystal structures. Even solid stone can hold hidden traces of moisture formed long ago. The Earth's gravity gently shapes the flow of rivers from mountains toward the sea. Water follows the slow pull downhill, carving valleys and carrying sediment along the way. Some forests produce thick layers of mist during cool mornings when warm moisture rises from the ground into colder air above. Sunlight filtering through these conditions can appear soft and pale. The atmosphere protects the Earth from extreme temperature differences between day and night. Air and water store and move heat continuously across the planet. Certain beaches contain black sand formed from volcanic rock broken into tiny grains by waves and erosion. These dark shores absorb sunlight differently from pale sandy coastlines. The Earth's tectonic plates move slowly enough that continents appear stable during human lifetimes. Yet over millions of years, oceans open and close while mountains rise and wear away. Some caves contain underground lakes untouched by sunlight for thousands of years. The water remains still beneath layers of stone and darkness. The Earth's rotation influences ocean currents and atmospheric winds through the Coriolis effect. Moving air and water curve gently rather than traveling directly north or south. Certain plants growing in arid climates develop waxy surfaces that reduce water loss. These quiet adaptations help life continue in dry environments where rain arrives rarely. The Earth's oldest known minerals formed before most of the planet's surface looked anything like it does today. Ancient crystals survived enormous spans of geological change. Some coastlines gradually sink because of the weight of sediments or natural shifts within the crust. Others rise slowly where land rebounds after ancient glacier melted away. The atmosphere contains more water vapor in warm regions than in cold ones. Warm air can hold greater amounts of moisture before clouds and rain begin forming. Certain mountain peaks create their own weather conditions by forcing air upward into cooler altitudes. Clouds often gather around these elevations while valleys below remain clear. The Earth's oceans absorb much of the heat trapped by sunlight during the day and release it slowly over time. This helps moderate temperatures near many coastlines. Some stones contain fossils of tiny sea organisms that once drifted through ancient oceans. Entire layers of limestone formed gradually from countless small shells settling onto seafloors. The Earth's magnetic field stretches far into space around the planet. This invisible region helps guide charged particles away from the atmosphere. Certain rivers carry glacial meltwater that feels extremely cold even during summer months. The water recently emerged from snowfields and ice high in the mountains. The Earth's surface reflects different amounts of sunlight depending on color and texture. Dark forests absorb more energy than bright snow or pale deserts. Some caves produce slow dripping sounds that continue continuously through the night and day. Water moving through stone creates rhythms that can last for centuries. The Earth's atmosphere contains layers where temperature increases instead of decreases with altitude. These changes influence weather patterns and cloud formation. Certain plants growing near the ocean can survive being partly buried by shifting sand. Their roots help stabilize dunes against wind erosion. The Earth formed during a period when countless rocks and particles moved through the young solar system. Gradual collisions and accumulation eventually created the planet. Some lakes disappear seasonally as water evaporates during dry periods and returns again with rainfall or snowmelt. Their shorelines shift gently through the years. The Earth's crust contains minerals created under many different conditions of heat and pressure. Each crystal structure reflects part of the environment in which it formed. Certain forests remain unusually quiet during heavy snowfall because snow absorbs and softens many surrounding sounds. The atmosphere carries tiny droplets of seawater into the air near coastlines. Ocean spray contributes salts and minerals to nearby environments. The Earth's oceans contain deep currents driven partly by differences in temperature and salinity. Cold, dense water sinks while warmer water rises elsewhere in slow global circulation. Some valleys were shaped not by rivers or glacier but by ancient volcanic activity. Collapsed craters and lava flows slowly altered the surrounding land. The Earth's landmasses influence ocean currents by redirecting moving water around continents and islands. This affects climates across distant regions. Certain plants survive freezing temperatures by allowing water inside their tissues to change in controlled ways during winter. The Earth's atmosphere gradually changes color during twilight as sunlight passes through longer paths of air near sunset and sunrise. Some caves contain formations created when minerals crystallize directly from underground vapors instead of dripping water. The Earth's rotation causes the sun and stars to appear to move across the sky each day. The motion feels calm and predictable because it repeats continuously. Certain beaches reveal smooth stones polished by years of wave action. Water rolls them gently against one another over long periods of time. The Earth's deep mantle transfers heat upward through slow convection currents invisible from the surface. Some rivers appear milky because they carry extremely fine particles suspended in moving water. Glacial streams often show this pale appearance. The atmosphere allows sound to travel differently depending on humidity, temperature, and wind conditions. Certain nights carry distant sounds farther than others. The Earth's deserts can preserve footprints for surprisingly long periods when conditions remain dry and undisturbed. Certain mountain forests experience cloud cover so frequently that trees absorb moisture directly from mist through their leaves and bark. The Earth's oceans contain underwater plateaus larger than many countries. Much of the planet's geography remains hidden beneath water. Some flowers close gently during rain to protect pollen from excess moisture. Their movements follow quiet biological rhythms linked to weather and light. The Earth's crust bends slightly under the weight of large glacier and ice sheets. When ice melts, the land may slowly rise again over thousands of years. Certain riverbanks glow softly under moonlight because wet stones and water reflect pale light from the night sky. The atmosphere contains traces of gases produced by forests, oceans, volcanoes, and living organisms around the world. The Earth's magnetic field occasionally guides migrating animals across great distances. Some birds, sea turtles, and marine creatures sense subtle magnetic patterns while traveling. Certain lakes remain frozen at the surface while deeper water stays liquid and comparatively warmer below. The Earth's interior pressure increases steadily with depth. Deep underground, rocks behave very differently from stone near the surface. Some coastlines contain natural sea caves carved by waves pressing repeatedly against weaker sections of rock. The atmosphere continuously redistributes moisture from oceans toward continents through clouds and storms. Certain deserts contain stones coated with a smooth shine called desert varnish, formed slowly by minerals and microorganisms. The Earth moves through space quietly and continuously, carrying oceans, forests, glaciers, rivers, and sleeping towns beneath the atmosphere. Cold currents drift through deep water where sunlight never reaches. Wind moves softly across distant dunes beneath the stars. Somewhere tonight, rain settles onto leaves in a dark forest while rivers continue their patient movement toward the sea through valleys shaped over ages too large to fully imagine. The Earth continues its slow and silent turning through the darkness tonight. Far below the surface, warm stone rests beneath quiet oceans and sleeping forests. Clouds drift gently above mountains where cold snow settles softly in a still night. Somewhere far away, waves continue arriving at distant shores in slow and endless rhythm, calm and sleepy. Rivers keep moving through valleys shaped over millions of years, steady and dreamy. Wind passes softly through tall grass beneath the moonlight, quiet and drowsy. Deep oceans remain dark and peaceful beneath the stars above, slow and sleepy. Forests breathe gently in the cool night air while leaves barely move, soft and restful. The atmosphere holds warmth close to the Earth while clouds drift silently overhead, calm and drifting. Ancient mountains rest beneath layers of cold night air, silent and heavy with sleep. Tiny drops of rain gather quietly inside distant clouds before falling back toward the ground, gentle and soothing. The Earth carries every ocean, desert, forest, and field together through space without hurry, peaceful and slow. Far beneath the sea, deep currents continue their endless movement through darkness, low and sleepy. Cold rivers reflect pale moonlight between quiet trees and sleeping stones, smooth and calm. The night sky remains wide above the turning Earth while everything below grows softer and quieter, still and dreamy. Clouds fade slowly across the horizon while forests settle deeper into silence, calm and sleepy. And the Earth continues on through the quiet darkness, steady and restful. Sleep well. Rest softly. Go to bed gently. Let the night grow quiet around you. Close your eyes slowly. Drift into deep sleep. Breathe softly and rest. The Earth will keep turning quietly through the night. Everything can wait until morning. Sleep peacefully beneath the calm night sky. Let your thoughts become slow and light. Settle into stillness. Feel warm, safe, and sleepy. The oceans, forests, and clouds continue quietly while you rest. Good night, soft dreams, and gentle sleep.